All right, guys, this one's gonna probably have some length to it. What we're gonna do is go into FX replay here, and we're just gonna bust through a bunch of days. And I'm going to try to talk about how to identify the beginning phases of quarterly theory. So we'll look at how to differentiate between the first quarter being accumulation or reversal retracement, and then to know whether the next phase is going to be manipulation, and just kind of how to identify the starting point so that you have the context for the rest of the remaining cycles. So what I'm going to do first is pick a starting month. So random date generator. We're going to pick a random start month and do a couple of months and just scroll through it. I don't know if I'm going to actually do that many days, but geez, this takes setup. Pick a total of 5 random. I just need one random day. Should fall between 2021. Select weekdays. I don't care. Get dates. Let's just start with that. June 4th, 2021. Let's just start with June 7th. 0, and we'll go. We'll just go here. We'll never make it there. That's okay though. Nope. Okay. So what I'm going to do is fit this on the screen. I don't need news. Thank you. That's not what I wanted to do. All right. Got it all fit on the screen here. So this looks really weird on my end, but that's okay. Got that. We got that. So what we're going to do is just the 1 minute, because we're just looking to identify the cycles. Hang on. Sweet. Okay. And we're going to start at 6 a.m. every day. Cool. I don't think I have any settings. Shoot. All right, let's set that up. Oh, I do still. Awesome. I love when they do this. Save that quick as AMDX. And we're going to switch. I think it's this gray for blue and this blue for gray. Correct. X. No. Whoops. This is green. That's gray. And that's red. X, A, M, D. Okay. So you guys don't really need to do this because you can use the indicator on TradingView. But if you wanted to, for instance, you can just use a GAN box. You turn off all the price levels. You don't even need the labels on either. Leave the background on, and you just set a 0, quarter, half, 3/4, and 1 for XAMD. This is your colors. It starts with blue for the X, A, accumulation, M, and D. I always use the same colors. So no matter what kind of quarterly theory, like indicator or color separations I use, it's always the same color so that I know when I see red, it's manipulation. When I see gray, it's accumulation. So it's just always clicking in my head that way. Oh, we don't need background up there. You need this background here. You don't need any labels or anything. It just looks exactly like this. And then for AMDX, you would do gray, red, green, and blue. I saved that, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to just jump to next day open is right under the play bar. Oh yeah, don't forget to change your time zone. So that's 5 a.m. because that's not New York time. 6 a.m. So then what I do right away, when I'm back testing anyways, if you're using TradingView, you can use the indicator. But right away, I draw the GAN box from 6 to noon, and I just set it to AMDX. I like AMDX better than XAMD, just so you know. XAMD sometimes gets a little messy, but it can work out nice when that would cause the manipulation to typically happen in the New York market open at 9:30. So sometimes it's cool, but I seem to really like the AMDX a whole lot better because then the distribution happens and at New York open and the manipulation happens right before that. But anyways, so when back testing, I just draw that out and then zoom how I want to zoom. And then I just play price immediately, like at least for back testing, play it straight through the first cycle. Okay. If you're live trading, don't even come to the charts until 7:30 New York time. Let this whole cycle play out. You don't need to watch it. It doesn't matter. The first cycle, no matter what, doesn't matter. It's either accumulation or some kind of reversal or continuation. You're not looking to do anything in that time frame anyways. So don't even watch it. Don't come to the chart until 7:30 New York. Now, compared to, if we zoom out a bit and compare this cycle to previous price, what does that look like to you? Does that look like consolidation, accumulation? Not really. What it looks like is price came down and reversed. This looks like an X day. This is not, I mean, there's not really a way to like describe that. This is clearly not accumulation. It's breaking previous highs. It's not staying in a tight range. You know, nothing that really indicates that this is any kind of consolidation. So we're going to change this to XAMD. So now we have our identification. It's really that easy. Usually, sometimes price doesn't like to print as cleanly as one would like, but so then, you know, you kind of already know that this is going to be relatively accumulation. And accumulation doesn't always go straight across. You can accumulate in a slight angled trend direction. So to determine if anything like that is happening, that's better. We're going to play the next cycle because we know that this is for sure not accumulation. So we know for sure this is not going to be a manipulation, but we want to see if anything, what we want to see is this quarter to kind of be tighter range than this. For instance, this whole range is 55 points or so. So we want to see this be tighter than that. So we're going to play through it and see what happens. So it did move a little bit, but you can see the difference here. Like I said, this is 55 some odd point, 54 points. And this whole range for this quarter is only 32. So I am feeling good about how this has been identified. This is a reversal. This is some accumulation, very slight uptrend, which is fine. It probably means we're going to manipulate up and then come down. If you were getting into market maker buy or sell models, this is starting to look like the buy side of the curve on a market maker sell model. And we should be looking for something to manipulate into in the next cycle. So that's how I kind of identify the beginning of what I'm looking for. I'm not going to go through, well, okay, this one we'll go through and see if there's anything to manipulate into. So I'm going to go to the 15-minute and look at some PD arrays near price. We've got that. We've got that. And we've got At least they're equal highs on the 15. I don't know how much that's going to matter. And we've got a high up there. So those are the things above price that I would expect to manipulate into. We've got an order block here. And we've got a 15er down there. So these are the things near price, above and below, that a manipulation could happen. Again, I have an idea. I mean, we've kind of already manipulated up into here. So that is something to keep in mind. But 930 is right here. So because the manipulation falls into 930, because 930 falls into the manipulation quarter, that's where it's going to happen. You can pretty well rest assured that a manipulation move is not going to happen before market open. So my guess is we spike up and come down just because of the formation of price, but I have no idea what price action was like back in 2021, and you never really want to set any kind of idea in your head, like cement it in your head, because you never know what price is going to do. So let's play this out a little bit. So it looks like we're manipulating down straight to this. We are moments away from 930. We could be forming a small market maker buy model to go higher in here and take out these highs. But again, as tempting as taking this inverse could be to catch the 930 move, it very well could work out. It really could. But I do not like entering on the 930 open. It gets so volatile. So let's just see what happens here. One more candle. Bam. So I like that we didn't take this low out again. We have a wick here. We have a wick here. At this point, it's pretty likely you'd want to look for something to enter off of. We did create an order block here with these 4 down close candles. Go up a time frame, and that'll just be like 2 candles. It'll look like a nice order block, and we're about to inverse this right here. Oops. Sorry if I'm trying to keep most of that in frame, so it's kind of zoomed out a little, but getting a low wiki. Okay, so we did take out that low there. I still am thinking this is manipulation, and this was not. And we're going to end up coming back up. Yeah, just like that. Obviously, way too crazy to enter off of. I mean, you can. Your stop loss would be huge, but. Oh, she's a choppy morning. So we'd want to see, I would say we'd want to see this wick not get taken and remain bullish, or if it does, we're probably melting a lot further. Or, I don't know, it's a Monday, so we could just bounce around in here. That sure doesn't look like distribution to me, though, you know what I'm saying? So we're probably coming down some, or that was manipulation all in itself, because there is a 1 minute down here. Does that show up on the 15? Whoops. It is an order block, so good confirmation that maybe that was a quick grab of all the early longers. Yeah, we'll see. And here's distribution. Let's see if it goes anywhere on a Monday. You can see it's really trying to respect that fair value gap, though, isn't it? Spam click. Yeah, this is kind of crap. There must be news today. How much you want to bet there's news somewhere? That was not distribution at all. Closing macro. Cool. So it's just one of those shit days. In this case, I mean, you could have tried. Yeah, in this case, you would have wanted to take a pre-market move, because this is nothing you want to be in. Absolutely nothing you want to be in. You very well could have found, I mean, my bias would have been bullish during all of this because it's respecting this 15-minute fair value gap so well. This was not a close under on the 15-minute, almost guarantee it. Yeah, never closed under on the 15. So I would have been bullish this whole time. You probably would have been, this is way too big to enter off of. You probably would have been wrecked. So you probably, this could have been one for a couple of points. It didn't take buy side and you would have been break even. Down here, there's really this tiny one and an order block. So you could have entered on that tap and maybe got a couple points. This is really ugly though. Small inversion here if you were into that. I like this one. Come up over this high. Oh, this is noon. And we tap into that fair value gap. So there's a couple little things. It's a Monday, so I don't know. It wasn't very good price action. So that's what that is. So I guess what we're going to do then is just skip to the next day and identify the beginnings. So we're going to go 6 to crap. 6 to noon. Set it to AMDX right away. Play that out. Oh yeah, that's not accumulation. There we go. Well, yeah, that doesn't really look like accumulation to me. Got a reversal and a continuation of the previous cycle. So it's probably XAMD. We're going to see if this accumulates then after this little London move. See if this is a smaller. Yeah, it is. Okay, so that's accumulation. You can see it's still got a general kind of upward inflection, but I mean, honestly, what I do is, for the most part, is just compare the ranges. It's a 78-point range and clearly smaller, but just for the numbers' sake, 43-point range. So more accumulation than that one was. You just compare those two. So now we're looking for probably another 930 manipulation move, and we'll just play it and see how right we are. So yeah, I bet. Depends on if we hit anything, because I bet this is the manipulation move. I don't know why I'm zooming out on the 1 minute. Let's go to the 15. Oh, there it is. Let's go to the 1 hour because it's further away. We must be really having a market reversal here. Coming up to new all-time highs maybe. So there's nothing really to bounce off of up here, which makes me think we're going to be manipulating down and then going to take that high. I'll bet you a good, I keep saying betcha. Market maker sell model happened here. I don't see anything on the 1 hour that we would come down into other than maybe this order block. There's kind of three stacked right here, but maybe that one. 15-minute, we could be stopping dead right here. Again, this is kind of a 15-minute order block too, so they're pretty close together. Let's just see what happens. It's already, look at that. It's already consolidating right in there. So I bet that's manipulation. We'll see. Hit the order blocks and no real distribution in my opinion. So, well, yeah, okay. So yeah, that makes sense. Then I get this was the manipulation, but we didn't really come into anything. So I'm not really sure. It just took local buy side. So that would have probably thrown me off, honestly. Unless I had caught the beginnings of this This is buy side of the market maker sell model. So I really do like combining all of those together. It helps you know that, if you're seeing this as a market maker sell model, the manipulation is going to be up because we're going to want to come down and clear all this out, right? So if you, like I just didn't pay attention to this looks a whole lot, Lamar 30 open looks a whole lot more like manipulation, but then we just keep distributing down. So it helps you, the manipulation is going to happen here, but the looking out for market maker buy or sell models helps you know what the manipulation is going to be. So good lesson there for the both of us. So let's go to the next day and do another one and just see what we got. Okay, 6 to noon. It's easier to do on like the 15-minute than it is on the 1 minute. All right. Play. Okay. What do we think? Does that, compared to previous price action, does that look like more accumulation or continuation? Kind of looks like continuation. So it depends, which is crazy to see 3 X days in a row. It usually doesn't do that in my back testing that I've seen. So what does this look like? Yeah, that looks like consolidation. So now we're waiting for manipulation. What can we manipulate into? You go out to your higher time frame, find something. Got a big 15er that we're in right now. We closed over it though. And we've got a 15er down here. Yeah, that's kind of tough. I don't think we could be just coming back in, immediate rebalancing. I don't know. That's a tough one. Let's see how it wants to manipulate. There's 930. I don't see anything that really strikes me as manipulation. I'm pretty zoomed in here. Like, normally you keep this at like 10 points, 10 points between measurements. None of this looks like manipulation to me yet. This still looks like accumulation, right? So our manipulation is doing what here? This big drop, this big drop right here kind of makes me not like market maker sell. So this whole day, I kind of don't really know. It is a Wednesday. There we go. Manipulate into something. What do you got? I don't even know. There's nothing up here. This little guy on the 1 minute. Yeah. Now we're going to distribute. Do. 1030 hits. We keep going down, right? Crap distribution cycle, which makes sense because it happened here instead. So we manipulated right up into that and came down again. Still really kind of a lame day. Maybe 2021 or the summertime or something just isn't great. But that's pretty much all. I'm going to do the rest of the week, and I'm just going to identify the beginning stages. We don't need to actually like play through price. I know it's fun, but that's not the point of the video that I wanted to make. So get 6 and noon in there quick. There we go. That looks pretty accumulation-y. We didn't move really any higher to reverse from this. We didn't really move any lower to continue it. Very much stuck in this little box right here. So I'd like to see this move break out of this consolidation like that. Like that. 8:30 news. That'll get you. That makes manipulation tough. Kind of makes everything happen before market open. So, yeah. But you can see the cycles line up nonetheless. And there goes distribution. See ya. So manipulated down into something and never really came back for any good reason. Huge inverse. You wouldn't take that if you were taught well. We've got an inverse with a delivery. Yeah, and it's an easy buy side, relative equal highs, free trade, but it did come back. So if you moved to break even after it got up here, you would have been stopped out anyways. But here's kind of FVG delivery. I don't know where you would have gotten in, but I do like this. It's like the buy side of market maker buy model without the sell side of the curve. We come up and impulse break, market structure shift past everything, come back down and tap this. Nice, huge fair value gap and take off right at 9:30. Again, I hate entering on 9:30, so I would have never done this and waited and probably missed this day. But you can see once you do, I mean, it's not always easy to catch, but you know manipulation's happening here. 8:30 news will take it all, every time. 9:30 will take it every time, depending on where the cycle lies. But this helps you identify at least what to expect. There's going to be news, and this is a manipulation leg. It's going to get ugly. It's going to manipulate. It's going to try to catch people. It's going to try to take liquidity. This is best for you to observe and be cautious, be smart, be patient, and watch what they're trying to manipulate, and then find an entry. So you don't enter on the manipulation. You don't enter on the single candle you think is the manipulation candle. Nothing like that. You let it manipulate, you let it play, you let it do some stuff, and find your entry when, especially news, has calmed down a little bit. So, what is this, Thursday? We'll do one more quick identification. Go to next day open. 6-2, oh crap. There we go. Again, you just let the first cycle play out no matter what. It doesn't matter. You don't need to be present for it. Come to your charts here and say, that kind of looks like a continuation, or a continuation from this bullish or reversal from that short bearish retracement. That is not accumulation, right? So again, XAMD, it's a whole messed up week in my opinion. How much you want to bet there's more 8:30 news? No. So that's pretty accumulation in comparison, right? Look at that move compared to this move. So that's an easy comparison to identify. Now we're looking for manipulation. 9:30. Nothing great. Nothing great. Well, that's the whole day of accumulation. That's crap. Look at that. I don't know. Maybe 2021 is not a good year. I wasn't trading for it. So, but that's not the point. You're going to be waiting for something. In my opinion, those two candles look like manipulation to me. Straight down to nothing. So I wouldn't have entered off of it. You want to manipulate to something. The best piece of price action that I see here is this. Comes down quickly, takes out all of the stops resting underneath here that have been accumulated through most of the morning, and then you've got a BPR. Not really a good entry off of that or anything. Never comes back down to retest it. Doesn't even retest the fair value gap above it. It is only noon, so you can do this all again in the afternoon. You would start at noon and draw to 6 p.m. So your last cycle is cut short because of the market pause. But, well, technically things kind of close down at 4. Like after 4 o'clock New York time, you're not really seeing a whole lot of action. Usually, sometimes there's a big something right at 4, up to 10 minutes after, give or take. But 4 to 5 is nothing. 5 to 6 is pause, and then your cycle's done anyway. So the last cycle is cut short, but you can do this again from 12 to 6 for the afternoon. Lunch, 12 to 1 is usually accumulation, right? So you see how that starts to fall into place. And then 1 to 1:30 is when you start to see movement, which can manipulate. And then somewhere between 2:30 and 3:30, you generally get your distribution, unless it's been a really slow day like we've seen recently. It'll accumulate all day long, and then closing macro takes off, right? So, yeah, anyway, hopefully that has helped. I think, what do we have, 30 minutes? That's a good place to call it. If you want more of this, I can do more. But I think that pretty much gets the point across and gives you the ideas and visuals of what to look for. And I just recommend going back and back testing it. Literally just back test this. Who cares about entries? Just back test your identification of the first 2 cycles, at least the first one. You need to know where you're starting. So I did this for a while. I just back tested this over and over and over again. And then I, started over or whatever, picked a new frame of time, and then looked for entries and things like that. Practice finding the manipulation, like just take it step by step. So your next round, you'd practice finding manipulation targets. And then, I don't know, not really guessing, but kind of guessing which way it's going to go and logically and try to get that right. I mean, that's what we do. We make very educated guesses. So practice that and finding manipulation targets. And then you can go further in finding your entry model within that and distribution targets and things like that. So on top of it, AMDX, it's a four cycle, 90-minute cycle visual. I've been, like I said, working on AMD cycles, which is more of a 3 cycles starting at 7 and ending at noon, I think, maybe 11. I can't remember. But anyways, we might talk about that another time, because sometimes you can get the manipulation cycles on both, or the distribution cycles on both to line up. And then you kind of know more of a confluence. The other thing with quarterly cycles is this is not the only way to break down quarterly cycles. So this is just this session, New York morning session. You've also got the day. You can break down the entire day into Asian session is like manipulation. London session is manipulation. New York session is distribution. So you can zoom out and do quarterlies that way. You can do quarterlies on the week. So Monday's accumulation, Tuesday's manipulation. Wednesday is distribution, and then Thursday is reversal or continuation, and then Friday doesn't count. Friday does its own thing. I don't really know what it is, or it's not really explained what Friday's function is within quarterly theory that I've been able to find so far. But Friday is just excluded from that. So if you trade on Fridays when you are using quarterly theory, just know Fridays don't really apply. You can use quarterly theory inside of Friday, like for the New York morning session like this, and look for things, but usually Friday is trying to find end of week liquidity targets to close out big weekly positions, or knock out people that have been in positions all week. So it's either there's going to be a move usually, and it is going to knock people out on the wrong side and pair that with exits for people on the right side of price. So just remember that. There are also particular days in a month that are really high probability. For instance, you can do this on the monthly too. The first week is accumulation. Second week is manipulation. Third week is distribution. So on the third week of a month, you're in the distribution week. This is going to be a high moving, large range week. And then you get on to Monday was clearly accumulation. So that would end up making Wednesday a distribution day in the distribution week. And then you go to New York AM session and you see that your distribution cycle is, you got an AMDX day. So you got distribution cycle at 9:30. So this distribution cycle for this session falls on the third day of the week, which is a distribution day, which falls on the third week of the month, which is a distribution week. And then say it falls on like the third quarter of the year. Now you're in distribution quarter of the year, depending on how quarterly cycle works out. Again, it's all about identifying that first cycle of whatever time frame. So you could have some kind of crazy triple or quadruple threat on a single 90-minute session, 90-minute cycle. And I mean, go back and look at it. I haven't, but go back and look at the New York AM session on the third day of the third week of the third month of the third quarter, and just see what that day's volatility looks like. So you can utilize that in different ways to position yourself onto really high probability, potentially high probability areas and at least get a better idea of what to expect. It puts that frame of thought in your mind. Whereas if you didn't have this at all, you really have no idea. It provides such a framework that without it, it kind of feels weird. And you're kind of just like in the middle of space. I just really like it because it gives me a structure and an expectation almost of what to look for. But again, you don't want to like be very concrete with it, because it is only just guidance. It is not just because this area is red that it will manipulate. It doesn't have to. It could have manipulated at the end of the gray or the beginning of the green. Just because it's red, it just kind of helps you know what to look for. And in my brain, I think of it as the start. When the color changes to gray here for the next, however, I should be expecting accumulation. Once that happens, it could end before the end of the cycle. But once I see there's been accumulation, I immediately start to expect there's going to be manipulation. If it hasn't yet and crosses into the red is now the beginning. I am going to see manipulation somewhere coming up next. And so it could happen 10 minutes later. You get manipulation and you're like, okay, I could be expecting distribution now, even though we're still red. If we don't see anything distributey until it turns green, somewhere in here there's going to be, you get the picture. Okay. So that's how I identify. Again, hopefully that's helpful. That's all I got for you today. And if you have any questions, hit me up in the Discord and we'll talk about it. All right. Thanks.